What's up guys, my name's Hugh Miller and Her Interactive finally released the official trailer for Mid. I'm really sorry that I couldn't get this out right away. First off, it took me about an hour to write a script for this because there's a lot that I want to talk about. And 2 hours at an escape room earlier, so I couldn't even get to it at all. Anyways, I watched the trailer just after it released, and I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't overly impressed. In fact, I was quite disappointed with the quality of it. I'm looking forward to actually playing it to see how the story plays out and how to interact with all the characters and just to get into these new game mechanics, but overall visually wasn't very impressed. Yeah, in this video I'm just going to be breaking down the entire Mid trailer, so shot by shot I guess, just so that I can gather or talk about as much information as possible. But before we do that, in case you haven't seen it, here's the trailer.
Rated E10 for ages 10 and up.
Salem. A town this old is bound to have some unbelievable stories.
I appreciate you coming here, Drew.
What can you tell me about where the fire happened?
It's called the Hathorn House. And now my cousin May is suspected of committing arson on the most important historic mansion in Salem.
Can I ask some questions?
Look, I appreciate you want help, but I don't want you dragging all that up and upsetting May.
Nancy Drew.
You're just like everyone else. Just want a front seat to the freak show.
What is happening to this town? It used to be such a safe place.
I have a bunch of alibis, but I'm missing something.
You can't find proof of a living soul present at the house the night it burned. Maybe the culprit wasn't among the living?
Do you hear it?
I hear it.
Who is it? Who's there?
Do you believe in ghosts?
So I didn't tell you everything.
This is how I remember my ancestors.
Are you saying they're all witches?
I'm saying it's Salem.
I think it's about time you head back to wherever you're from, Nancy Drew.
All three of us saw something.
Whatever or whoever it is, there's an explanation. Time's up. We have to go to the Hathorn House tonight.
If we go down there, it's going to be all of us. This place is going to come down on our heads.
Now, before I actually dive headfirst into this sucker, I just want to throw a possible, but maybe not probable theory in the air. I'm personally not a huge fan of how unfinished the game looks in the trailer. I talk about it later in the video, obviously. I really talk about it. But one of the reasons, but what if one of the reasons it doesn't look great? Just what if? What if it's just because they wanted to make a functioning game, a good game, I guess, that was still able to run on most computers, both new and old. Again, I'm not saying that's why it doesn't look great, but someone on a previous video commented suggesting the same thing. And I really like the theory. I thought it kind of made sense. I just want to suggest it to you guys, and it's just a thought. Not sure how likely, or if it's, I don't know how likely it is. And I'm pretty sure it's not even if that's the case, I wouldn't even say it's a viable excuse. Because you can still make a game look half decent and still be able to run it on most computers. So, anyways, let's get on to the video. Alright, starting off, we see that it's rated E10 for ages 10 and up. That was already announced back at the Halloween stream that Her Interactive did. But it's pretty cool seeing it for real and hearing the voice, rated E10 for ages 10 and up. I love that. It's always fun. This first shot we get is in the graveyard. It hasn't changed too much from when we first saw the renders in the first teaser trailer back in October, so there isn't much we can get here. The biggest thing that I noticed is the depth of field effect that they're using. It does create a blurred background, which does look kind of nice. The next shot is in the town square. Here we have the stage that Olivia was posing on in the last render. We also have a statue that was in one of the images from Geek Girl Con 2019. So one of the attendees, took a picture of it, and it looked like they were exploring it, and this is that statue. Once again, there's not much else going on here. I do like what they did with the lighting. It's pretty solid and creates a nice mood. This next shot was in the teaser, so there's nothing new here. Moving on to this new animated logo for Her Interactive. They use this in the recent Nancy Drew Games trailer, but this time it says Her Interactive Games instead of just Her Interactive, and there's also a bluish tint over it. I'm not really a huge fan of it. I liked the one they've been using forever, pretty much. I like that one a lot better. They're like dun dum 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 dun doo 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 doo. Like I love that one. Like that one's a classic to me. You know, so I'm not sure. I don't think I like this at all. Nothing I can do about it, but it's just what it is. Now this next shot really interested me when I first saw the trailer. I was intrigued by an overhead shot of a car driving down the street. I thought that was it was new. It was new. Deirdre says, "I appreciate you coming here, Drew." We also got a quick glimpse of Nancy sitting next to Deirdre here, and check out these shadows, man. Like these tree shadows. Woohoo! Very janky and clunky. Thank you, lovely. Love it. New. In this next shot, we are sitting beside Deirdre in the car. Deirdre still looks pretty questionable, but the car itself actually has some depth to it, especially if you compare it to the interior of the truck from Icicle Creek. Moving on to the next shot, we see a pan across the Hathorn house. This is where some of my biggest gripes with the trailer are. Firstly, look at the grass. It's flat. It's boring. It looks unfinished once again. Now I'm gonna make a direct comparison to an old PC game that I love it. I've played it so many times, called Jimmy Neutron versus Jimmy Negatron. All right, now check this out. You're seeing gameplay of it. This game is from 2002. Need I say more? I mean, really, graphically, Mid looks, so far this shot looks pretty similar to this Jimmy Neutron game from 17 years ago. That's sad. Wow. Deirdre also mentions that May is her cousin, whereas in the first teaser for Mid at the end of C, Deirdre said that a close friend was in trouble. Now, I know that teaser trailer, the original teaser trailer is like, over 4.5 years old, but still, I just thought I'd point that out just because why not. This next shot is very similar to the first cinematic teaser of May that we got back in May for Mid. The shot right after it is May on a newspaper saying, "Local teen in trouble." Bummer. It's too bad. Not much going on in this shot. The next shot is going up the stairs of the now burned Hathorn house. I must say that the background trees don't look terrible. Like, they're not bad, but they don't look great, but they're not bad. I don't know. What do you guys think about that? Now, what is it with Her Interactive using so many new and different fonts all of a sudden? Like, they've changed the font of the logo, the subtitle or the game title. Now they've changed this font. I'm pretty sure they've gotten rid of or stopped using the font they used for the original game titles. And it looks like they've changed the font for advertisements? What's with this? Like, I've got a bit of a theory. Their new slogan for the game is, "How far would you go to escape the past?" Is that also a definition of Her Interactive in their current state? The next shot is of Deirdre walking towards the Perry house. The house looks better than in the original screenshot. I mean, it was at night, the other one, and I like the lighting they had in the other one, but yeah, I don't know, the colors and textures just look flat. It's really too bad, actually, that the game looks as unfinished as it does. Because a few of the recent screenshots made it look so good. Like the one of May underground or wherever she was, one of Frank. They were some pretty decent screenshots. I'm also curious. This might not even be true at all, but perhaps they had the game running on lower settings to get a good frame rate when recording for the trailer. I don't know. I don't even know if I should say that, but it could be a possibility. I like this next shot because it shows off another form of puzzle. I think it looks alright, so I'm not going to complain about it. I think it's fine. We are now inside the Perry house, and I'm not going to lie, this is one of the worst scenes in the trailer thus far. The characters look terrible. The background looks very plain, boring, and unfinished. Oh, Tegan. Tegan just doesn't look good. The syncing of mouth movements to dialogue it's almost disturbing. It's painful to watch, actually. Let's move on to the next shot. Here we have May sitting in a chair on her phone. I'm not sure why her fingers are just mindlessly pressing the screen, but whatever. Whatever. I'm also curious if they did a cut after she says Nancy Drew. Her fingers and mouth jump forward, like they sort of just jitter, I guess, in a weird way, and it looks like they tried to cover it up, but it's still really noticeable. And wow, I mean, May's mouth dialogue syncing is terrible. Like, wow, how do they mess this up this bad? This is unreal. Ooh, it's midnight in Salem. Ooh, oh man, this next shot. Right away, I don't want to interact with Alicia. Please, no, she doesn't look good at all. Nope, sorry, no. Aside from her in the room, we have May, Joe, Deirdre, and Judge Danforth, and they're all probably judging how terrible Alicia looks. The next shot shows some pretty terrible syncing once again. Like, just look at her mouth and how it syncs up. It does not work. And look at Danforth's hands. What is going on here? Like, it's like he's crossed his arms, but his hand's not even touching his arm. What? This next shot is an almost 360-degree view from inside one of the rooms of the town hall, I think. There's some equipment on the desk, a map of Salem, some bars that have been ripped out of the window. I'm really curious what did that. And what looks like a back alleyway sort of behind the window. We've also got a bulletin board full of things like a headshot of May, thumbprints, and multiple images from the crime scene alongside some other police documents. This next shot is also from the original teaser trailer, so there's nothing new going on here either. Here's a shot of Olivia. Once again, weird looking face and mouth. I thought she looked weird in the render, and this just kind of confirms it. Not my kind of character. Sorry, no. Location, it's like the location she's in, it's kind of cool. That's about it though. We're clearly inside her little emporium here, but it's just, Oh man, you can have some fun with this next shot. If you really slow it down and like kind of reverse it and play it forward again, you can make Olivia dance a bit. That aside, there's a lot to get from this shot. So aside from Olivia, there is a person in front of the stage and one walking behind the stage. You can just see them for just a couple frames here. Both of which aren't actually characters that have been announced. So I think it's official that Mid has like just wandering AI. I think it's pretty cool. I think it's pretty rad. It's definitely something I'd have wanted from some of the older games. Like I would have loved something like that in the Phantom of Venice when you're walking around Venice. Even in Shadow of the Water's Edge, if there were just other people walking around at the expo station, that would have been awesome. But the difference between those games and Mid is that Mid is a completely interactive 3D environment, whereas the older games were just individual frames that were rendered and with a few animations, maybe in some frames. But for the most part, one, they couldn't really afford it, but two, they just couldn't. I don't think their engine could physically handle it. As the shot continues, we get another bystander in front of Olivia's platform, plus two more people in the distance. One guy looks like he's protesting something, probably has to do with the Hathorn house being burned down. This next shot is pretty cool as well. We got a better sense of how the navigation works in this game. It looks like every time you move, there's a bit of a gliding motion. I'm curious if they actually sped this shot up or not, or if you actually do just move that fast. I'm curious. This was also mentioned by someone who attended Geek Girl Con earlier, or a couple weeks ago as well. We also got a much better view at the ghost sensing device that was shown in the original teaser trailer. It was very dark and you could hardly see it in the teaser, but in this shot, you can actually see a lot of it. Turns out there's a lot of little lights and knobs and switches and all that stuff on here, so this could be pretty cool. I'm looking forward to it. The next shot has some Joe action going on. Woo! We got Joe and Olivia in the graveyard, and Frank shows up in the next shot as well. I'm curious if they're on one of Olivia's ghost tours or paranormal tours or whatever. The next shot looks like whoever's eyes we are looking through makes it seem like they are about to pass out or are on drugs. Leave your thoughts in the comments below. This next shot is of Lauren Corey. Still doesn't look great, but looks better than the original render. After that we get a spooky ghost shot. And then what the heck is this? Another change in titles? Like, what? Like this trailer is all over the place, right? I'm not the only one seeing this, right? Like they were just regular text boxes and now they're like 3D animated stuff. What's going on?
So I didn't tell you everything.
The next shot is of Tegan looking way too happy that she's just lied to our face. She's now sitting in the chair May was sitting in earlier. Now we're inside Luminous Infusions. It's really dark in here, and the quality of textures and graphics is not great by any means. It's very similar to the original render that we got of Lauren. It's just the background just doesn't look good. Lauren looks a little more spooky in this shot as well. Not a huge fan. Now this is cool. I like the close-up 3D view of the book that we're getting. It really does make things easier to read, and I like the interactability. Is that a word? I like that. I like it. This next shot shows how we will get to interact with inventory objects or just objects in general. I like the ability to see it from every angle like this. Once again, I called it in a previous video where I referenced Tomb Raider's item viewing system, where you can sort of zoom in and like 360 view items. Totally called it. I'm the best. In the background of the shot is also inside Olivia's Ghost Emporium. I talked about this earlier, but I'm curious. Does she have a Suki cat on her desk? That would be awesome if she does.
I'm saying it's Salem.
Now this next shot has some pretty cool things to look at. What we've got is, it looks like some sort of model of a house that's similar to the Hathorn house, but not exactly the same design. And it's sitting on top of some sort of wood puzzle thing. It's pretty cool. I'm really curious about it actually. Kind of looks like one of the final puzzles from the Vampire Diaries game that Her Interactive made way back in 1996. This next shot is of us sitting next to Jason Danforth as he's driving us somewhere. I don't know where. The background is so unfinished. Look at this. It's just, there's nothing there. There's like grass and nothing. Just blue. It's gone. We pass another car as we're driving, so that's kind of cool that there is AI pretty much at all times. I like that. Now this next shot is super cool. I mean, I really was actually quite interested in this one. It shows the puzzle we saw at the end of the very first teaser trailer, but now it looks like it shows how it works. From what I'm getting from the trailer, you can move the pieces around to try and fit them together, and it looks like you can select one and select another one, and then they sort of switch spots. And then once they're all in the correct position, it just sort of puts itself back together again. It's kind of what it looks like to me. I don't know what you guys think, but yeah. Another title. Again, of course, The next shot is a zoom towards Frank, Joe, and Olivia. Since they've been shown together a few times in the trailer, I'm really curious to see how they're going to interact in the game. Next shot is flying around the forest. Again, nothing interesting here. This next shot is in the graveyard. It stops on John Hathorn's grave with Frank and Joe in the background. So it looks like we can just visit John's grave and just be like, hey man, what's up, just chilling. And he's like, yo, I'm dead. And then we get freaked out because he's talking to us as a dead person. Here we get another clock shot from the teaser. This next shot is of Frank, Tegan, Joe, and Olivia all standing inside the Perry house. It looks like they're just staring at Nancy like she's just done something wrong. The next shot is a flying shot towards the Hathorn house as a light on the second floor turns on. I'm curious about what's going on in that room. I'm really curious. After that, a lightning flash in the sky appears. Boom, crack, scary, spooky, The next shot is of Deirdre and Joe. It kind of looks like Deirdre's yelling at Joe or trying to explain something, but it also could just be as simple as she is saying what you hear, where she says, if we go down there, it's going to beat us all. Or beat all of us, sorry. The next shot is of a secret entrance magically opening. Now that's very unlike Nancy Drew. There's never been actual magic like this. Assuming this is actual magic, it's never happened before. Another clock shot from the teaser. This shot looks like we're in some kind of sewer system, or like underwater or underground tunnel that's just been flooded. I mean, it's like clearly caving in, so I'm really curious about what is causing that. But I'm really intrigued to see where or how to get there, or where it goes, or all that good stuff. Here we have Deirdre and Joe in the room where we saw the model house earlier. Another friggin' clock shot. Now this is cool. Here we got a really good look at the puzzle from the previous shot, not the previous, like the one right before this, but the one before that one, with Joe and Deirdre. There's a lot of info on here. All the words on the outermost ring, the outside ring, they were mentioned in The Haunting of Castle Malloy. So if you remember the Ogham Runes puzzle, where you have these 4 pillars, there's some Celtic etchings, I guess, that you've got to line up. And if you got to get a book about Celtic festivals, and it looks like a lot of these words on the outside are Celtic festivals. So we got Imbolc and Beltane. I can't remember any of the other ones, but you know, that's about it. So that's kind of cool. The symbols on the next ring and the middle ring were from Curse of Blackmore Manor. So we got some various alchemist symbols on the second ring, and the symbols for earth, air, wind, and fire in the very middle of the circle. And the numbers on the sort of third ring, I'm not really sure what they're for or what they are. Maybe they're dates or something, or like from this year to this year or something. I don't know. The next shot features May falling to the ground. If you compare the render to this shot, the render looks way better than this shot ever did. Yeah, I'm curious if they did just lower the graphical settings while recording, and then you can change them while you're playing the game. I'm so curious. After that, we fly past the Hardy Boys, then up some stairs, and then we get the logos to the game. And that brings us to the end. Honestly, I'm not too sure how to feel. Now that I've torn it apart pretty much frame by frame, it's been nice to see everything for what it is. But it's still disappointing to see how low quality everything looks in comparison to some of the screenshots. Way she goes, I guess. Nothing you can do about that. I'm still very excited about the game. I'm really curious to see how it plays and just if it even runs and all that stuff. But I got some questions for you guys. What do you guys think of all this? What do you think of all this? What do you think of the trailer? Everything that's in the trailer? Are you excited or more excited or less excited for mid? I've seen some people say they don't want to pre-order anymore. I've seen people say, well, it is what it is. I'm really curious about what people think about this. Let me know in the comments. Don't forget that the mid digital giveaway sponsored by Her Interactive is still going on. It ends on Monday with the winners announced on Tuesday. And there's a link to that in the description if you haven't yet entered. Anyways, thank you all for watching. I really appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you're able to slow down and look at everything frame by frame just like I did. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a wonderful rest of your day.